disintegrate. Years roll along and fade. Don't let them slip away. Right here, right now, today. These are the good old days. Right here, right now, today. Hey, these are the good old days.
As we've discussed many times on the show, when Masters of the Universe came out in 1982, it created two icons, He-Man and Skeletor, the main hero and the main villain. But around midway through the line, a new villain was introduced, and this guy kind of broke all the rules. Originally intended to be another villain for He-Man to fight, and also a foil for Skeletor, Hordak and the Evil Horde were introduced. Now, before they could hit the market, they were co-opted or hijacked to become the villains for the She-Ra animated show. So, you had a TV show that had the Princess of Power as its main hero, and Hordak as its main villain. But these two technically existed in different toy lines, kind of breaking all the toy rules. So, as a child, my He-Man would fight Hordak, who was She-Ra's villain, when I didn't even have a She-Ra. And you know what? We didn't care, because Hordak was so awesome. He had a sweet bat shield, he had these crossbows, he was just another villain, another formidable foe for He-Man to punch in the face. And we loved it. And Hordak has become iconic all in his own right. Now, a couple videos ago, we did a battle armor version of Wanda, and then, in one of the comments, someone suggested we make a battle armor version of Hordak. So today, we're going to look through my parts bin and see what kind of Hordaks we can come up with.
We invade Eternia! Now!
After digging through my parts bin, I found a Hordak with one arm missing, as well as an extra Hordak head. I was able to find some Hordak armor, as well as some Hordak limbs. So he has some arms, and I found some of his legs. So that's more than enough Hordak pieces to get us going. Now, an interesting thing I discovered was, of my two Hordak heads, one seems to be a variant with no white around the eyes. I don't know anything about this Hordak head and haven't been able to find anything online. So if anybody knows about it, please let me know. Now, because I want to make a battle armor figure, we need to find some battle armor pieces. So I was able to find a He-Man battle armor chest, as well as a Skeletor battle armor chest with the legs still attached. Now, with this being an evil figure, I think that the Skeletor battle armor chest will actually fit better. So we're going to use that one as our chest piece. Now, the first thing we have to do is get the legs off of this thing. Now, the construction for Masters of the Universe figures in the legs was that rubber band holding them together. So we're going to have to get that off. Now, they can get brittle and they can break and they can snap, and we've got to dig these pieces out of the Hordak legs. But hopefully, the one inside Skeletor is in good enough shape we can reuse it, and that will save us from having to feed a new one through. And that's the trickiest part. So we're just going to use some hot water and heat up the legs, and that makes them a little bit more soft, and we can then dig out the rubber pieces. It's always a little bit tricky, but we will get it done. And once that's done, hopefully we can just pull off the Skeletor legs and slip on the Hordak legs, and won't need to put a new band on there. So it looks like this band is in pretty great shape for being 40 years old. And we're just going to slam the new Hordak legs on there, and there we are. We are one step closer to creating our battle armor Hordak. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to need to paint the chest. Now, what I'm going to do is everywhere it's purple here, which is a real Skeletor color, I'm going to paint it in red, just to kind of give it that Hordak look. Now, the thing about working with red paint is red is actually one of the most translucent colors in paint, so it will take, I find, about twice as many thin coats as any other color. So just lots of thin coats. You can see here the first coat is drying, and it dries real translucent. So don't be discouraged if you're using red paint. Just keep applying thin coat after thin coat after thin coat, and you can see it starts getting redder and redder. And just be patient. It doesn't take that long to dry, and keep applying paint. And you can see here, by the third coat, it really starts to pop and look like red. So the next thing we're going to do is, once that's all dry or able to handle, we're going to paint the barrel of the battle armor gimmick black. And you got to do that in a few different steps. But yeah, get that painted black. Now, while that's drying, we're going to take a look at this one-armed Hordak. Because in the Filmation show he had a blaster arm cannon, I went into my 3D design space and just kind of designed one up. It's not a complex design, it's pretty symmetrical. But what we're going to do is just print that off. I printed it off in gray here, and it just kind of snaps on. So you can see here, there's the kind of designs we made. What I'm going to do is just paint them black. Those rings are on the side, I'm going to paint those black. And I'm going to paint the ribbing down the side, the barrel down the side there, a silver. So I'm just going to use acrylic for the black, and then for the silver I'm going to use this silver paint marker, which works pretty great. Especially for fine details like this. If I was using a bigger area, I'd use a brush, but this works pretty great. And when that's dry, it should just snap onto the side of Hordak, and he'll have himself a Filmation style arm cannon. Now, when Hordak came out originally, he had like a vinyl cape in the back of his armor. So what we're going to do is, using the same method we did for the movie He-Man, we're going to take a binder and just kind of use the cover of that. Our design for the Hordak cape will be available on our Facebook page, and we're just going to put it into the Cricut design space and cut it out of this binder material. And when that's done, we should have a pretty accurate reproduction of a Hordak cape. Now we're just going to push them through the holes in the back, slap the armor onto our blaster arm Hordak, and by that time he should be all done, and the paint of our battle armor Hordak should be almost dry.
I don't believe it!
Alright, as far as the logo for the battle armor Hordak here, what we're going to do is use this vintage He-Man image here just to get our sizing right. So we're going to import a Horde logo here, but then rejig it a little bit so that it fits onto that barrel. Now, we're just going to kind of move the head off there and put a regular scaled head in the middle, and before you know it, you have a very Horde looking logo that can go on the chest. Now we're just going to import that logo into the Cricut design space. We're going to get it sized properly, and then we're going to cut it out. Now as far as coloring goes, I chose to go with gold vinyl, just so the figure wasn't all black and red, to give it another little accent piece there. Now once it's cut out, we just weed it off, and usually when we do something small, I do 4 or 5, just to make sure I get one that's really clean, but I got 5 that are really clean. So we're going to take this, we're going to stick it onto the barrel, and that'll be our logo. And then once that's on, we're going to take a bit of clear coat and just go over that paint that we have on there, let that dry, and once we get his arms and legs on, we have a working battle armor Hordak.
So there's our take on a battle armor Hordak and a Filmation style arm cannon Hordak. Now, if you're having as much fun as we are, if you like what we're doing, hit subscribe, like, ring the bell, do all the YouTube stuff, and hopefully we'll see you in the next video.